We'd like to start the session by paying our obeisances to Srila Prabhupada, and also we'll seek blessings from our Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, and His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. So we are on our journey on studying the second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which is titled as Contents of Gita Summarized. And in this chapter, we have 72 verses. It is part of the Karma Yoga section of Bhagavad Gita, the first 6 chapters. Right? And this chapter we have divided into 5 sections. Right? We have already covered the first 3, and today we will be carrying forward on our discussion of the 4th section, right? Which is primarily talking about the Nishkam, Karma Yoga, or Buddhi Yoga. Right? So in our last session, we covered from verse number 38 to 46, right? And we discussed that how in this section, Krishna is basically nullifying the reason of Arjuna, who said that, if I fight, I will incur sinful activity, right? And if you remember, Krishna said in 2.33 that it is by not fighting that you will incur sinful activity, and not by fighting that you will incur sinful activity. And then he's saying that how he should be fighting, right? And we saw that how Krishna changed the track or almost took a U-turn because he talked about Karma Yoga. He talked about Karma Kand from 2.31 to 3.7, right? And in 3.7 he said that it is a win-win situation. If you die, you will achieve heaven. If you win, you will enjoy the entire earthly kingdom. But in 2.38, Krishna said that you should become equipoised, right? You shouldn't just fight for the sake of fighting, right? Disregarding loss or gain, right? Victory or defeat, happiness or distress. Just fight, right? So he's starting to introduce Nishkam Karma Yoga, right? Work with detachment. And the mostly quoted verse of Bhagavad Gita, if you see, is in this section. And that is the verse which is 2.47. You go to anyone who even doesn't know, what is Bhagavad Gita, will, in one sense, know at least not the whole verse, but one section of the verse, which is, first line, first stanza, right? So someone will like to recite this verse. Everyone will know this verse, right? You can recite.
Sumit, can I try?
Yeah, please, Lavan.
Yeah. Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phala heturbhurmate sadgostva karmani.
Right. Very nice. Thank you very much, Lavan.
Thank you.
So, this verse is, someone will like to read the translation?
Yeah, I can do it. You have a right to perform your prescribed duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits of action. Never consider yourself the cause of the results of your activities, and never be attached to not doing your duty.
Right. So, karmanyevadhikaraste. You have the right to perform your prescribed duty. Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you have the right to perform your prescribed duty. Karmanyevadhikaraste. Adhikar, right? You have right. I have adhikar to do something. That is my right. And this is the line which people quote the most. If you ask them, why you are not doing any devotional service, why don't you go to temple and worship God? Why don't you chant the names of Krishna, right? Why don't you partake yourself in spiritual? No, 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 no. Krishna has said, do your karma, and that is all. Karmanyeva adhikaras. And that's all in all, right? So they like pick and choose. And in our scriptures, this pick and choose mentality is compared to what, What is this? Hen. Ardha kukuti nyaya. Logic of half hen. Before I share, will someone like to share what is this logic of half hen? Logic of half hen means that while the hen gives egg, right? The smart person thought that why I have to feed the hen so much? I will just be interested in getting the eggs. And what the person did?
Cut and ate off of the
Yeah. So now this is Ardha Kukuti Nyaya. But what people do, they just take the 1/4 of the words. Not only half, but 1/4. Karmanyeva adhikaraste. Right? Karmanyeva adhikaraste. Huh? I have the right to perform work. All of us think, right, that we have right. Basically, we not only think that we have the right to perform work, but we think actually we have right for the results. We have right to the results, not just work. It doesn't matter whether I work or not. Like students, what is their aim? To pass the exams, regardless of how they pass the exams, right? So people, they are not even bothered about the work in a sense, right? They're just focused towards the result. But if you see, what is the purpose of studies? What is the basic purpose? To build up character, right? Learning, right? While getting good marks is just a byproduct, right? If you study diligently, you will learn, right? You'll become mature, you will develop a good character, right? And undoubtedly, as a result, you will get good marks. Similarly, what is the purpose of doing the prescribed duties? Right? Why the purpose of studying is to, learn something, right? Now, if you compare the two, our life and life of a student, the way students, some, immature students who don't realize the importance, of the opportunity they have been given, they just focus on the exams, getting good marks, while they waste their time in other things, and they will not learn some of the important facts of life during their course of education. Similarly, the purpose of our prescribed duty is to satisfy Krishna, while the end result can be to gain some material comforts. But that is, unfortunately, that has become upside down. The whole society has been so degraded in this age of Kali that people are just after getting material comforts, right? So the thing is, if we do our spiritual, our material duties, our worldly duties with some spiritual understanding, then what will happen? We saw, right, that if you act according to scriptures, what happens? Purification of the heart, right? And actually, when heart is purified, it is open for knowledge. So the purpose of action, the purpose of our duty is to grow in wisdom, buddhi, right? There may be different prescribed duties for different people. But the most important thing is every person has to do their prescribed duties as has been guided to them by Krishna or by representative of Krishna, right? And if we do those duties, then Krishna will be satisfied. Then our heart will be purified. Then we will be illuminated. And those duties are so important because regardless of what the result is, Krishna is satisfied just by the act. Krishna doesn't care about the result so much. His most important thing is that we are trying to do something for him, right? We are trying to do something to purify ourselves, to go back to him. That is the important thing, right? Ma phaleshu kadachan. What does this line mean? That we are not entitled to the fruits of our result. Now, this line is forgotten by those people who quote the 1/4 of the part of this verse. They don't know what Krishna is actually saying. Krishna is saying, you are not entitled to the fruits of our results. Right? And why does Krishna say that? That we are not entitled to the fruits of our result. Why? Because if we were just for the fruits of the result, then we are just getting more and more entangled in this material world. We are forgetting what we are, who we are. We are forgetful of our true nature. We are forgetful of our true spiritual nature. And what is that? That we are soul. And if we just work towards a particular like result-oriented work, disregarding spiritual things, disregarding presence of Krishna, then we are going to go nowhere but to stay back in this cycle of birth and death. And Krishna, as our father, wants to help us, which is why he's requesting us that, don't be after fruits of the results. And thereafter he says, Ma karma phala hetur. Never consider yourself the cause of the result. Never consider yourself the cause of the result. What does this mean? Like when we are cooking something, right? Does it mean that you are not the cause of the bhoga you prepared? Or if you are driving, from Bangalore to Hyderabad, so it is you who is driving, right? So are you not the cause of you reaching Hyderabad, having drove all the way? What Krishna is saying that you are not the only cause, right? You are nimittamat. You are one of the nimittamat, an insignificant portion of that, right? And because Krishna is saying that you have the right to perform your duty, but you are not entitled to the fruits, and never consider yourself as the cause of the result. Now, if person says, if all these things apply, then why should I work? If I'm not entitled to the fruits, if I am not the cause, then that's all. And why should I be working? And then, therefore, Krishna knowing the Kali Yuga mentality, he says, Mate Sangasta Karmani. Never be attached to not doing your duty. Because why is Krishna saying this? Because only when we perform our prescribed duties, only when we perform our spiritual duties, will we get enlightenment. Because what is our true nature? Jivere Sarupa Hoye Nitya Krishna Das. Right? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that our true nature is to become servant of Krishna. Jivere Sarup Hoye Nitya Krishna Das. And if we are servant of Krishna, servant means we have to serve Krishna. Right? So if we have to serve Krishna, we will have to act. Right? And which is why Krishna is saying, Mate Sangasta Karmani. Never be attached to not doing, because it is by doing duty you will come back to me. So this verse is very important for us, right, to understand. And the pinnacle of this are Brajvasis. Right? We see how it is Krishna who did everything for them. Right? Everything. When Indra, became angry, it was Krishna who's protected them. 24/7 Krishna protects his devotees. We should never think that Krishna is not going to protect us. Right? And the motto of our life, the philosophy of our work should be do your best and let Krishna do the rest. It is not that we should become lazy, right? Or we should, because as a devotee, we are servants of Krishna. So we want to serve Krishna by whatever means you can, by your intellect, by your physical body, right? By your words, by whatever you have, because we are servant of Krishna. So all of us have to serve Krishna in our own capacities, right? And then Krishna will definitely reciprocate as he always does. Right? Now we will go into little more detail of this verse. So it is that we have to get detached from the results, not the goals itself. Right? So we have to get detached from result and not the goal. So karmanye vadikaraste. We have right to do work. Right? Now, work in this world is not only for material results, but also for spiritual results. And what happens is that any work we do with spiritual knowledge, right? Spiritual knowledge means as per direction of Krishna or as per direction of representative of Krishna. Then what will happen? We will purify ourselves, and then we will rise to the level of ourselves, that we are soul and not this body. That is the main aim. Please try to understand that is the main aim. Whatever we are doing, the main aim is for us to come to the platform and realization that we are spirit soul, that we are soul. We are not this body. Right? And the body should be utilized to help us realize this. But if we use this body in doing wrong activities, then what will happen? Then we will have to incur sins. But if we utilize this body for Krishna consciousness, for working for Krishna, then we will be purified, and that purification will help us to realize our true nature. Right? And when we are talking about purification, what does it mean? Impurity is basically to forget our real nature, to forget that we are souls, to forget that we are servant of Krishna. That is impurity, right? But if we work as per scriptural directions, as per directions of Krishna or representative of Krishna, then we will be purified. Why? Because we work in that consciousness that we are Krishna's servant, and that purification will happen, and then enlightenment will happen. Right? Then Ma Phaleshu Kadachan. We don't have rights for the fruits of our karma. What does it mean? Doesn't mean that one don't care for the result. Like we gave an example in one of our previous sessions that, when we are cooking bhoga, that does not mean that, blindly we put so much of salt into it, right? Or what are we doing now? We are trying to study Gita, right? We are trying to seriously study Gita. It does not mean that we will, just switch on our phone or log into the class, this session, and just sleep, right? No, we will try to attentively hear. We are putting efforts, right? So, doesn't mean that we don't care for result. The important thing was that we don't have that enjoying mentality, that I am going to enjoy the fruits of my result, right? That is very important. It is because it is generally the result which motivates us, right? So it is not wrong if we seek a particular result. We do our duty just for result, but we do our duty because we know that through that we will be able to purify ourselves, right? So it does not mean that we are going to be inactive. That is most important thing, and does not mean that we artificially think that Krishna here is saying, just don't care for result, right? No. It is saying that don't be attached to the fruits of your actions, and don't utilize those fruits for your sense enjoyment. That 2.44, no sense enjoyment and no material opulence, right? Don't make that the aim of your life. Don't make that the aim of your work. Right? That is very important. And our primary objective is to please Krishna. Even if result doesn't come out, Krishna will see the intention, right? That is very important, and he will be pleased. He sees our intention. He's regardless of what the result is going to be, he just sees our intent, our love for him, right? So that's very important. Like, for example, whatever we are cooking, right? If we cook with a consciousness that we are cooking it for Krishna. For example, I'll just give you an example. If tomorrow, Ishwar comes to my house, right? Then we will like to prepare something which he will like, right? Because he's our main guest. But we all will eat, right? It is my family will also eat that thing. Similarly, when we are cooking daily, bhoga, when we are cooking, whatever we are eating, we should offer it to Krishna. We will see that in 3.13, where Krishna says, Yagna Shishta Shina Santo Muchante Sarvakil Visha. That whatever you are eating, if you don't offer it to me, you will only take sins, right? So when we prepare something in that consciousness that we are preparing it for Krishna, he is our main guest, he is our main person. And then after he is satisfied, after he takes the offering, then everyone else will eat. So that should be our mindset. Salary is coming, right? So we offer a part of the salary to Krishna. See, the way we prepare bhoga, we offered one plate of bhoga to Krishna. He takes. Similarly, we share some salary to Krishna, and then rest of the salary becomes spiritual, right? And then we use that salary for, basic well-being, taking care of the body in other spiritual activities, right? That should be the mindset. Our house, this house can be used either for sense enjoyment, material opulence, showing off, or we can use it making Krishna as the center of the house. Right? This is ashram, grahast ashram. Grahast is one of the most important ashram. So our house should be like a ashram, right? Where all the activities are centered around Krishna. Okay. Now, there are 3 levels in which a person can work. Right? There are basically 3 different levels. People who have no spiritual understanding, they work for results. Right? And the second level is people work for purification, that my work is going to purify me. That is a very good understanding, right? But there is a higher understanding, which is what?
Liberate.
Yes. Not even liberation. Pure devotees, acharyas, they say that even expecting liberation is also some type of desire. So what they say, that our only aim is to satisfy Krishna, is to please Krishna. Our aim is to just help him. Right? Everything in this world belongs to whom? To Krishna. This body belongs to whom? Krishna. Then everything should be utilized for Krishna. And if we are not, then we are not being ethical. Right? So that is important for us to understand, that at highest level, yes, to purify ourselves if we perform duties, that is good. Yes. But the highest and the most important thing is, whatever we are doing it to please Krishna. When we are attending this session, when we are trying to prepare slides, discussing this, our understanding is that we are helping people to understand Krishna better, right? And that is one thing which will satisfy our spiritual master, and that will satisfy Krishna, right? And yes, it will certainly purify us, right? There is no doubt about it. Right? And we are not working for any result. Now, in this, what can be the result? The result will be that so many people will become devotees, right? But that result is not something which we are aiming at, or that result is not related to any type of material prosperity, any type of anything, right? So sometimes, even in a spiritual life, people are, they can get too much fixed or hooked with some result, but we should be very careful that everything, every honor, every respect which is coming to us, we should always consider ourselves as instrument of our spiritual master and as an instrument of Krishna, right? Whatever mistakes are happening, they are happening because of me, but whatever good thing is happening, it's because of the mercy of my spiritual master and Krishna, right? That should be our understanding. That is very important, right? And let's see an example that how Krishna only looks at our intention. He is hardly bothered about the result. Does anyone know this story of a squirrel when entire Vanar Sena was involved in making the bridge across the Sagar, and this squirrel was also trying to help? Does anyone know this story from Ramayana?
The squirrel also carried some soil and pebbles and put it on added to the bridge making.
Yeah. And then Hanumanji came. Hanumanji said, "Why you are disturbing us? We are throwing so many big rocks. and you are throwing the small grains of this soil. How is this going to help? And then Ram Bhagwan overheard this. Ram Bhagwan came there. Ram Bhagwan called, Hanuman, come here. Actually, through his devotees, he wants to teach us. So he called Hanuman. Hanuman, for me, you and a squirrel, both of you are doing the same service. Because a squirrel is doing its best and you are doing your best. So for me, I equally respect your services. Right? So that is a good learning for us. That, we should not become too proud, even if we are becoming devotees or anywhere, we should not become envious also, right? We will see that how Krishna says in 9th chapter, first verse, says that I only give this devotion to one who is anusuyave, who is not envious of me or envious of my devotees, right? So that is also very important thing, that we should not be, become artificially proud. We should not become envious. We should try to develop good qualities as devotees, as human beings, right? That is important. And then coming to the next stanza, never consider yourself the cause of the result. Ma karma phal hetur. Right? Now, there is a good example quoted by his great Radhesham Prabhu in his class. Radhesham Prabhu said that there is a farmer. Now, a farmer became too depressed that I did this, that, then, and then also the result is not good. Farmer. Now, and then a devotee asked him, who gave you the seed? Who gave the rain? Who gave the potency to the seed? Who gave the earth? Everything has been provided by Krishna. What are you doing? I'm just putting the seed in the ground. So, if you remember the previous, that I am not the cause of the result. That means I am not the only cause of the result, right? That majority of the things are done by Krishna. They are given to us. Like if you talk about even this brain, have our mother, father actually made this brain the way, Shanmukji makes some chips, or, our ladies who are attending this, they make bhoga, right? Or doctors, we try to treat patients. From where has this brain come? Parents, they have not actually manufactured this. They have just given little care in the development, right? So when this brain, this body, all has been given to us by Krishna, we should understand. We sometimes become overly proud. I did this, I did that, this is mine. We become, so much impatient, so much anxious, thinking about our kids, thinking about our future, thinking about what is going to happen in Corona, right? So we should try to have faith on Krishna. And whatever may happen, Prabhupada used to always say, death rate is always 100%. Everyone has to pass away. Now, does anyone know who spoke Srimad Bhagavatam?
Sukha
And to
Maharshi.
whom? So
Parikshan Maharaj.
and
Parikshit.
Adi Mahamunis.
Sukhdev Goswami spoke to Padmaji was saying something.
Shaunakadi Mahamunis.
Yes, yes. So so primarily it was spoken by Sukadeva Goswami to Parikshit, and then it was repeated by in Naimisharan, right, to Sonakadi Rishi. And this, do you know in what condition was Parikshit Maharaj when Bhagavatam was recited by Sukadeva Goswami?
He will die in 7 days with a snake bite.
Right. He was given a notice of 7 days. And do we have a guarantee that all of us will be given notice for 7 days? See, when he realized his entire life was for Krishna, but when he got the final notice, what did he do? He didn't. He had the strongest army. He had the he could have created walls and walls to protect himself. But what did he do?
He found what is the best way to spend his 7 days.
Right.
Before.
And that is what all of us have to do. We also have been given this notice. We all know this will come to us. So we should spend our life in Krishna consciousness, in becoming good and better devotees. Right? So we should depend on Krishna. Right? Krishna is the main cause of all causes. Right? We are just the nimitta matra. Right? In this way, we will remain detached. Right? That is the understanding of this verse. And the last part of the verse, Mate Sangasta Karmani. Never be attached to not doing. Don't become lazy. Right? We should not be attached to inaction, because it is the action which purifies us. Right? And highest goal is to connect with Krishna. Right? Our endeavor is to please Krishna with our services, because that is what is going to take us back to Krishna. Right? Does anyone has any question on this? Any comment? We move forward to next verse, 48. Yoga is equanimity. Someone will like to recite this?
I'll try, Sumit. It's our side. Hare Krishna. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhas siddhyau samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate.
Thank you very much. Someone will try to read the translation.
Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Such equanimity is called yoga.
Right. Now here, Krishna is giving a definition of what is yoga. Now, do you remember what we have understood to be the definition of yoga?
Connect the soul
Right.
with the Supreme Soul and
Right.
constantly in devotional service and try to liberate from this cycle of death and birth.
Right. Yoga word has come from yoga. It's to connect. So, and what is Krishna saying? Such equanimity is called yoga. Now, equanimity means basically what Krishna is saying, that is the prerequisite, that is the qualification, and that is how you should be performing the yoga. Right? Yoga basically means to concentrate our mind upon Supreme, right? By controlling our ever-disturbing senses. Right? We have to try to focus on whom? On Supreme, on Krishna. And who is Supreme? Krishna. And here, Krishna is saying, Arjuna, you should do this. Right? So Arjun should just follow what Krishna is saying. Disregarding, disrespecting of what the outcome could be. That is what Krishna is saying. Yoga is equanimity. Right? Samatvam yoga uchyate. That is, that samatvam, that equanimity is what is called as yoga. Right? Siddhyo asiddhyo samo bhutva. That whatever, whether it is success or failure, you remain equipoised. Right? That is. Now, yogastho means again equipoised. Kuru karmani. Remain equipoised in your work. Right? And give up all attachment. Sangam tyaktva. Give up. Tyaktva means give up, and sangam means attachment. Give up all attachment. Perform your duty equipoised, O Arjuna, giving up your attachments. Right? So, this is basically Krishna's definition of what yoga is. Right? And as is Krishna telling to Arjuna, Krishna is also telling to us that we should be performing all our duties for him with this mindset. Right? Because as we discussed in the previous verse, it is the intent which is the most important thing. And if we work on behalf of Krishna, on behalf of our spiritual master, that is what Krishna wants. That is the right way of discharging our duty in Krishna consciousness, and which alone can help one to act in yoga. And we should not be disturbed. I will do this, how I will do that, and so many things. Right? How can we focus if we just want to do everything like we discussed in 2.41? Right? We have Sayatmika Buddhi. So we should try to bring our mind back from all different distractions, right? And just try to focus on Krishna. And those distractions can be caused by different kind of pleasures available, and also by different kind of pains, right? But please understand, both those, whatever it is, pleasure or pain, they are temporary. They will go, and we have to go beyond, right? So now Krishna in the subsequent verse is highlighting that we should try to reject all abominable actions. Okay, so someone will like to read this verse? And anyone can read.
Sumit, let me try.
Yeah, please.
Durena hyavaram karma buddhi yoga dhananjaya buddhau saranamanvichha krupana phalahetavaha.
Thank you very much, Davis. So, someone will like to read the translation?
Yeah, I'll read. O Dhananjaya, keep all abominable activities far distant by devotional service, and in that consciousness surrender unto the Lord. Those who want to enjoy the fruits of their work are misled.
Thank you very much, Harsh. Durena hi avaram karma. Avaram karma here is mentioned for sakam karma. All different types of, doing this activity, that activity. Krishna is saying, Durena hi avaram karma. What does that mean? Durena means keep them. In Hindi also this word is there, dur. Keep them away from you. That avaram karma. How do we keep them away? By what? By buddhi yoga, with the help of your wisdom, your spiritual wisdom. Keep all these abominable act, basically, avaram karma, sakam karma, all these things, keep them away. And then buddheo sharanam anvichha. What does this mean? With the strength of that wisdom, that intelligence, right? What you should do? What is Krishna saying? Sharanam, that full surrender.
Surrender.
That is what is Krishna saying. Then kripana. We discussed about this word kripana, and we then contradicted it with brahmana and kripana. We discussed in that karpanya dosho peheta swabhava, right? 2.7. So does anyone remember what does the word kripana means?
Who does not know anything? Lack
Yeah.
of knowledge.
Yes.
And
Someone-
understand this purpose of life.
Yes. Someone who doesn't know anything about the purpose of life, right? We call them like a skin diseased person. They're just bothered with flesh and bone, and that's all. That is kripana. And what is that? What is that kripana doing? Phalahetavaha, desiring only fruitive result. That's all. That is the aim. Krishna is saying, with the help of devotional service, with the help of wisdom, spiritual wisdom, keep all these things away from you. Right? Because why is Krishna saying this? Because our constitutional position is that we are soul. And then what a soul, how is it related to Krishna? Jivere Sarupoi Nitya Krishna Das. That we have to always engage ourselves in service of Krishna. And if we waste our time in all these karma kandic activities, then we are wasting our opportunity, golden chance given to us, right? Which is what is saying, Krishna is saying, with the help of your intelligence, keep all these things away. Because what is happening nowadays is, think big and you get big. There is a rat race. But what happens is, and all of us know that even if we win, even if we get so much, we are still the rats. What Chaitanya Charan Prabhuji was quoting was that instead of having infinite longings, we should have longing for the infinite. I will repeat this. Instead of having infinite longings, we should have longing for the infinite. Right? I want this, I want that, this, that. And once I have something, I want this for my wife, I want this for my daughter, this for my son, this for my mother. And then it becomes society, it becomes community, it becomes country, it becomes a nation, it becomes, goes on. There is no end to it. No material thing can satisfy us. We can keep longing forever, but nothing is going to satisfy us. Right? And so what we have to do is, we have to basically redirect our desires towards Krishna. We have to see, so far Krishna has not introduced himself, but we will see that how this Bhagavad Gita is going to take us deep into this nectarian ocean, where Krishna will start introducing himself. End of second chapter of starting with third chapter. Yagnarth karmano anyatra loko yam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya. And then Krishna will say, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya adhyatma chetasa. Do everything for me. So it will evolve. But what Prabhupada is giving it as this nectar from the very beginning, right? So that is very important for us to understand that whatever here Krishna is saying, Krishna is, gradually lifting Arjuna, to higher understanding, to higher enlightenment. Okay. And then this verse, Krishna will say who is the expert in this yoga, how this yoga is to be utilized. So who is going to recite this verse?
Can I try, Sumiti?
Yes, please.
Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukruta dushkrate tasmad yogaya yujyasva yogaha karmasu kaushalam.
Thank you very much, Lavanya. Who will read the translation?
I can read. So, a man engaged in devotional service rids himself of both good and bad reactions, even in this life. Therefore, strive for yoga, which is the art of all work.
Now, this is very important words. Why? Because in this verse, Krishna is saying that you can get free from everything in this lifetime. First thing is Krishna is saying that you can get free from everything in this lifetime. And second is Krishna is giving another definition of what yoga is. Yoga karmashu kaushalam. Right? And in first line, Krishna is saying buddhi yukto jaha tiha jahat iha. If we work in devotional service, if we work with spiritual wisdom, then what will happen? Jahati means we can get rid of. Iha means in this life. Get rid of what? Sukruta dushkruto, good and bad result. This is how we can get free from these results, by tasmad yogaya yujasva. Now this tasmad yogaya yujasva, this line is similar to 2.38. The third stanza of that verse is similar to this one. There Krishna said yuddhasva yujasva. Does anyone know what is the meaning of word yujasva? Engage, to be engaged. There Krishna was saying engage in yuddha, and here Krishna is giving a generalized version. Yogasya, yogaya yujasva. And what is that yoga? That yoga is to act in Krishna consciousness. That is the art of all the work. Kaushalam. Kaushalam means expertise.
Skill and expertise. Okay.
What did you say, Ashalmukhi?
Skill and expertise.
Yes, skill and
yes, highest skill.
Right. So here, basically, again, Krishna is highlighting that if we work in that consciousness, right? If we work with this spiritual intelligence, if you work in Krishna consciousness, then in this very lifetime, you will be freed from all whatever good and bad reactions you had. You will get free. What you have to do is just be focused. Just keep yourself focused in working for me. And that is the art. Bhagavad Gita is again and again reminding us that we should all surrender onto Krishna, right? We should not become entangled. We should not be victimized with this modern advancement. Otherwise, we'll just end up in this cycle of birth and death, nothing more, right? And then what is the result? What is the result is clearly highlighted here. No birth and death cycle. And this word is very important because in this verse, Krishna, for the first time, spoke about something beyond Swarga. First time in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is highlighting that. Someone would like to recite this verse?
I can read.
Yeah, please.
Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha Janma bandha vinirmukta padam gachyantya namayam.
Very good. Thank you very much. Who will try to read the translation?
I'll try. By thus engaging in devotional service to the Lord, great sages or devotees free themselves from the results of work in the material world. In this way, they become free from the cycle of birth and death and attain the state beyond all miseries by going back to Godhead.
Thank you very much, Prashad. Thank you. So, karmajam buddhi yukta hi. Again, what is Krishna saying? With that Krishna consciousness, do your work. Phalam tyaktva. And what will happen? That phalam tyaktva. What phalam tyaktva means?
Detach the result.
Yeah, detached from result. Manishinaha. Manish is a very common name. Does anyone know meaning of word Manish?
I think human. Manish, no?
Great sages or devotees.
Yeah, Manish.
Yeah, great sages or devotees. Yeah. Mana means what? Man. Mind.
Mind.
And Isha?
Desires of mind.
No, right now Padmaji said na great sages or devotees. That was the right meaning. But
Okay.
we are now doing Sandhi Viched. Right? This is Mani.
Isha is God, God or Atma.
Yes. Yes. Isha means God. So someone who has control. Isha means controller. Right? Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchitananda Vigraha Ishvara Isha. So Manish means someone who has control over minds, and these are great sages and devotees, right? They have control over mind. And Janma Bandha Vinirmukta. Vinirmukta means they go beyond this cycle of birth and death. Where do they go? Padam Gachanti Anamayam. Shanmukji, you are saying something?
Krishna's abode.
Yes. Padam Gachanti Anamayam. They will go there where there is no miseries. Anamayam. They will go to that place. Beyond birth and death. Right? That is important. So how we will go? If we work within that Krishna consciousness. Right? And in this verse, Prabhupada in the purports is highlighting one important verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very, very sweet verse. Shanmukji, you will recite this Bhagavatam verse?
Yes. Hare Krishna. Samasritaye pada pallavaplavam mahatpadam punya yasho murari bhavam buddhirvatsa padam param padam yad vipadam natesham.
Thank you very much, Shanmukji. Thank you. Someone will like to read the translation?
I'll do it, Prabhuji. For one who has accepted the board of the lotus feet of the Lord, who is the shelter of the cosmic manifestation and is famous as Mukunda, or the giver of Mukti. The ocean of the material world is like the water contained in a calf's footprint. Param Padam, or the place where there are no material miseries, or Vaikuntha, is his goal, not the place where there is danger in every step of life.
Thank you very much. So, in the interest of time, like I'll try to finish this in next 8 minutes. Now this we have tried to show the hoof print of a calf. Now hoof print, Bhagavatam doesn't say hoof print of a cow. Bhagavatam says hoof print of a calf. The entire material ocean, right? For a devotee, it will become like a water in the hoof print of a calf. And then anyone can cross over this water, which is there in the hoof print of a calf, right? That is what it is. So difficult to cross over this whole material ocean. But for devotees, Krishna will convert that entire ocean like the water in the hoof print of a calf. And these devotees, they don't aim at something, of this world, but they aim of what? Vaikuntha, Golok Vrindavan. That is our aim, right? So that is how Krishna reciprocates with devotees. Right? That is how Krishna helps us to go beyond this cycle of birth and death. Right? And then Krishna highlights that please don't get confused with other karma kandi scriptural sacrifices mentioned in the Vedas. When your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, you shall become indifferent to all that has been heard and all that is to be heard. So when your intelligence has passed out of the dense forest of delusion, right? When you have clearly understood, right, what Krishna wants and what Krishna wants, Santosh Prabhuji, in 15.15, what is Krishna saying? What is the aim of all the Vedic study? Sarvasya chaham hidi sannivishto mata smritir jnanam apohanam cha vedes cha sarve aham eva vedyo vedant krit vedavid eva chaham. Right? So Krishna is giving us remembrance, forgetfulness, knowledge. And Krishna then specifically highlights what is the purpose of Vedas. Vedas cha sarve aham eva vedyo, that I am to be known by the study of Vedas. And I am the compiler of Vedant. Vedant krit, Veda Ved, and I know the Vedas. Right? So that we should always remember. We talked about different philosophies, right? But the Vedantic philosophy is given by Vyasdev, right? That is very important. We should all stick to it. We should all stick to, the main scriptures of Vedantic philosophy, that is Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, right? Srimad Bhagavatam is the natural commentary of Brahma Sutra, right? Gita is a Smriti Shastra, but also a Shruti Shastra because it is directly spoken by Krishna, right? So it is very important for us to really embrace these two important literatures and aim. Krishna is already highlighting it time and again in Bhagavad Gita. Vedas cha sarve aham eva, so that I am to be known by Vedas, right? And then what are we going to do by knowing Krishna? Krishna is highlighting that you should work for me, do everything. Sarv dharman parittaje mam ekam sharanam. Leave all other kind of religious activities and sacrifice. Just surrender unto me. I will take care of you. I'll free you from all other sinful activities. Right? And then Krishna is saying, when your mind is no longer disturbed by the flowery language of the Vedas, and when it remains fixed in trance of self-realization, then you will have attained the divine consciousness. Right? We should not, that Brahman is saying that you have to do this, you have to do this. Someone who is a devotee of Krishna should be fixed. That by chanting the names of Krishna, that by studying scriptures, by associating with devotees, all our things will be taken care of, because we are already working on a platform of spirit, of soul. We are already engaged in spiritual things, right? Don't be too much worried about what's happening here and there, right? So what this slide summarizes the benefits of acting in Buddhi Yoga. So in verse 50, 2.50, it was that there won't be any reactions, whatever good or bad, right? So example is given of a cashier and a soldier. Soldier who fights on behalf of country, soldier kills, but is never punished. he gets Paramveer Chakra. He's rewarded. He's appreciated of his services. And cashier takes money and gives money on behalf of bank, doesn't give on his own or on her own, right? Working for bank, working for country, and we have to work for Krishna. So we will not be impacted by any good or bad result. And then 51 says no birth and death cycle, right? Beyond. In 51, it was the first time Krishna is saying, you will come to me. Padam Gacchati. 52, become indifferent to Vedas. And 53, fix your intelligence in the trance, right? That was most important thing. So I will end. There are a few slides which talks about it summarizes basically. So you please go through them. I'll like to now end here and check if you have any questions or comments or suggestions.
Sumitji, one question.
Yeah.
So it was a nice session today, a lot of clarity. Just wanted to ask, we see quite a lot of people here, right, on Earth who excel at dizzying heights, be it sports, be it science, engineering, maybe your medical field, right, or in music, arts. So they excel with a goal in mind, trying to put in the effort, looking at the results, right? So that's the cycle people in that caliber follow. Right? Are they following this process unknowingly, or are they doing it right? I mean, is it wrong to do that?
See, Dipesh, very nice question. The thing is that sitting here, we cannot comment on what other person is doing, right? Because please try to understand. Here we are talking about consciousness of a person, the motivation of a person, right? Now, someone can be a greatest scientist or a doctor or an engineer, but that is why we give example of a soldier. Soldier is also shooting someone, but when he shoots on behalf of country, he is rewarded. But when the same soldier, because he had some fight with a neighbor, he shoots the neighbor, then he will be punished because he acted on his own. Important thing is we have to see that what we have to do, right? Rather than I am very sorry, but yes, there may be some who will be working for Krishna, keeping Krishna as the center, while there will be many others.
Right.
Because you see in 7.3, Krishna says, Manushyanam sahesveshu kasyat yatati dhananjaya yatadam api siddhanam. That out of thousands and thousands, only few knows me. And those who know me, ultimately only few know me in reality. Kanchit mam veti tattvata. Only few, and they have to work. So what we have to now do is for ourselves that now having understood this, we should practice it, right? And we should pray for others, and we should try to help others. If someone by chance is not doing something for Krishna or keeping Krishna in the center, right? Duryodhana was also a skilled bureaucrat. He was an intelligent person, aristocrat, bureaucrat. He was a very powerful, soldier, king. And Arjuna also. Right?
Yes.
So it depends on who is working on behalf of Krishna. That is it.
Okay. Thank you. Right.
Any other question or comment?